Hello everyone, hello all live fashion members. I know that all of you now sitting at home and try to find the inspiration for your work. And today I want to show you one lesson about the cut. And all of you know me how I work in the avant-garde way, and today I want to show you a more commercial way, and I hope that this cut will inspire you and help you in your work. Okay, let's start. The general idea of this haircut is to combine two very popular haircuts. Underneath, I will cut and use the mullet shape, and at the top area, it will be like a bob texture shape. I think that it will be very interesting shape because it's very important to combine the layers and gradation and lines. Let's start the cut. Before we start cutting, I just want to tell you about the section for the cut. And first of all, look at my mannequin head. We have a big curved section at the neck area. It's very important to find this section correctly. I use the occipital bone, take a little bit higher or go a little bit higher for 3 centimeters and make the curved line from this point to the edge of the ear. After, make 2 triangular sections at the temple area. These sections are symmetrical. And at the top area, I have a big triangular section and 2 sections at the fringe area. And big square section at this area. Let's start. I start my cut from the vertical section at the center of this area. And this section will be the guide for the all of this hair. I start work with the first section, take small pieces of this section, and after cut the length. This length will be the guide for the square layering of all of this area. Using this length, take my vertical section, keep the fingers straight on the ground, and cut the first section using the square layering technique. Using the first section as a guide, I will cut all of this area. Repeat the same technique. Step by step. It's very important to use not very big sections. Every time when I take the new section, I use the previously section as a guide. Every time I use the previous section as a guide. And the last one. I a little bit over direct the last section to the previously to keep this length. And when you finish your left side, repeat the same technique on the right side. I take my first vertical section and I will use it like a guideline for the right side of this section. Repeat the same technique. Every time I use the previous section as a guide. And I repeat the same. And this side, a little bit over direct the last section to the previous. The next step is work with a triangle temple section. And what I'm going to do, take a diagonal section. I take the length of my previous section and over direct all this area for the length on the neck. Step by step, I over direct all this section for the first line. After that, I will take a diagonal section and using the length of the previous section, put my fingers on the head and cut the 90 degrees layer. A little bit shorter. And after that, over direct all the hair of this section to the first. And repeat the same from another side of this triangle, using the length of the edge of a triangle as a guide. Put my fingers on the line, take this section and cut 90 degrees layering technique. And after that, over direct all hair from this section to the first. And now using the same technique from another side. I take a diagonal section, take the length on the neck area as a guide and over direct all of these sections to the first. Repeat the same. Take a diagonal section, use the length of my neck area as a guide, put the fingers on a head and cut the 90 degrees layers. And after over direct all this section to the first. I repeat the same technique from another triangle side, using the length of the edge of this triangle as a guide and cut the 90 degrees layer. And after that, over direct all hair from this section to the first. I finished my work with the knee section and now I'm blow dry all the section and cut the outline. After the blow dry, I just want to make my triangular section on the temple area a little bit softly. And what I'm gonna do, I take the vertical section and using the point cut technique, And after first, over-direct all this section to the one side of this triangle and use the pointing technique. And repeat the same technique from another side of this triangle. Repeat the same on another side. And now I'm working with the outline on my temple area. I just want to a little bit open the ear, and I will use the slicing technique to make the outline more softly. I use the same technique from another side and just a little bit open the ear using the slicing technique. I'm working with the small triangular pieces. Now start the work with the outline on the neck area, and what I'm going to do, I just want to cut a little bit shortly here and keep the length behind the ear. I will use the same technique like the temple and start at the center and cut the small triangular pieces. My idea is make the outline more softly, but if you want, you can make, for example, the graphic curved line. It depends from your wish. And keep this length. Cut the triangular pieces from shorter to longer. And repeat the same technique from another side. After the outline, start work with the crown area. After the knee section, we will cut my triangular section at the top area. And what I'm going to do, I will use the length of the edge of the triangular temple section, take a vertical section from this area, take the length of the triangle as a guide, and cut a very short section at the top. This section will be the guideline or the guide length for the all section at the top. Take the first section as a guide. I cut all of this area. Step by step. The previous is a guideline for the next. Use the same technique from another side. And cross-check this area for the balance. And after that, I will cut my fringe sections. After the triangular section, I'll take a vertical section at the top. Find the length of the fringe, and after that I will use the length of the fringe and the length of the edge of my triangular section, and using the freestyle technique, cut from shorter to longer to connect two sections and keep the length on the fringe. After that, take the next section, this is diagonal section, and repeat the same technique from shorter to longer. I use previously section as a guide and repeat the same technique in all of this section. Every time I'll take my previous section as a guideline. Repeat the same in another area. After cutting the fringe section, I just little bit correct the length of the fringe. And what I'm do, using the same technique like at the temple area, cut the small triangular pieces and correct the length of the fringe. I am working with the very small triangular pieces to make the length and the line of the fringe more softly. And after that, cut the crown section. And now what I'm going to do, take a vertical section. This section is the center of the crown area. And after that, I using the length of my triangular section and use the freestyle technique, cut from shorter to longer. Repeat the same using the parallel sections. And every time I take the length of the triangle and cut from shorter to longer. It's very important to work a parallel section. Repeat the same on another side. I use the previous section as a guide. And now I repeat the same technique as a fringe. Take all my disconnection panel and correct the length using the slicing technique and cut a small triangular pieces. This technique gives us a very interesting result because we connect neve sections and top sections in one point and the edge of my triangle and have a disconnection panels at the crown area and at the top area. And after the cutting, blow dry all the hair. Blow dry, I will use a little bit pointing technique to make the texture more softly and connect all my disconnection panels. Repeat the same from the other side. And after that, a little bit working with my triangular section. And here is the finished result. This hair technique is combined layering and graduation techniques. It's a very interesting texture at the top area, and for me it's very beautiful fringe line. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson and see you at next Live Fashion Hair 2020. Thank you, bye bye.